But if it doesn't, then you just go, okay, we're live now. So just letting you know.
Right.
So
it should let me know. There we go. Yeah.
It's come up now on my page. So I'm just going to share that.
I see it. Now, how do we share this?
So we've still got like 0 viewer. No one's tuned in yet. Do we continue to do this if we have like 0 people?
Let me share.
Okay.
Share to my timeline. But I need to make it public, right?
I've shared it to my timeline. So let me go see in my timeline if I've shared. Yeah, I've shared now. So we've got like 9 people now watching us. So it's not just the 2 of us anymore.
Did you share public?
Yeah, just shared to public. Yeah, that's all I did.
Okay.
Guys, people who are just tuning in, this is a new thing that I'm trying to do on my Facebook page and hopefully later YouTube. So if you want to share this, that would be much appreciated. So we'll actually start going like officially in a few minutes. So in the meantime, we'll just wait and see how many people turn up, and you guys can look at our faces as we talk smack for the next few days, for the next few minutes, not the next few days.
What, next few days? You didn't tell me this is to be a day thing.
Seriously, man. Like, yeah, no, you're invited here. This is like Thursday night. We'll be here till like Sunday night. This is what's
it's not like you're doing anything else anyway.
No, no one's doing anything else right now. Netflix has run out of stuff to watch, so
yeah,
I guess we're here for a long time now.
Okay.
All right, we'll just give it another minute, and then I'll officially announce the session up and live and running. It's good to see that there. I told, so I was in the middle of telling you this. I messaged the people that we selected pictures off, and I told them that they can come and see this session here. And I've also told the people that we decided not to select their pictures, and that we might still consider their work for the next sessions, for next rounds.
That's okay. That's honest of you. That's really nice.
Yeah, no.
Don't just tell everyone your picture might be in the.
No, yeah.
Everyone turns in. See.
I ended up finding it quite a challenge because there was quite a lot of people that submitted their work, so it ended up being quite a work to do. But I thought it was a good thing to do because we've been making them wait for like 6 weeks, so they deserve to know what we were going to do or not do. All right, so I think it's almost 8 o'clock, so we're just gonna start the session. Welcome everybody who's joining in right now. Really happy to have you here. This is basically my attempt to spend my time more productively and help people in photography and share my knowledge. And I'm hoping that as I go forward, I will be bringing more to the table with the guests. So in this first session that we're doing today, I have with me TC Lin, who is, I don't even know where to start. TC Lin is a member of Burn My Eye, a colleague of mine. He's also an administrator of Hardcore Street Photography, if you guys already know that. He's been an admin there for a very long time, for at least 10 years. And at least 11,000 years.
Oh my God, it might have been
1,000 years.
Yes.
It's been that long. And TC is also a photography teacher at a community college in Taiwan. And we've also done TC. I just reminded myself of this. We've done 3 workshops together.
That's right.
So that's more than enough time to learn about each other's tendencies and to understand your belief in photography and what you like. And I thought, what better way to kick this thing off by inviting you up here to help critique the photos. So for people who tuned in last week, I've shown a bit of what we're going to do today. But for people who didn't see what we did last week, I'm just going to explain it again. About 6 weeks or 2 months ago, we asked people to submit photos to us to let us know if they would like their work critiqued. And we asked everybody to send in about 5 photos each. So there ended up being quite a lot of people that sent in their work. We spent the next 6 weeks figuring out how we were going to do this, whether we were going to do it on Instagram or we were going to do it on Facebook. And we've decided to do it on Facebook. We selected one image from 12 photographers, one image each from 12 photographers to do this critique session. So I know that it's quite difficult to critique one photo. It's difficult to know a photographer's mind from just one photo, but what at least I think we hope to do today is just to give a sense of what we think about photography, what we think you can do with it, how it can be improved emotionally, aesthetically, and hopefully that knowledge that we both share between us will go some ways to helping people understand how we think about photography. This is not an objective view because everybody's got their own opinions. So art is very subjective. Photography is very, very subjective. But this is our view. This is our perspective. And having worked on hardcore street photography, having seen a ton of photos, we'd like to think that we've seen quite a lot of what's been going on social media, what people have been sharing. And we've also seen a lot of work of masters and books. And, so hopefully we'll be able to part some knowledge with that. Now, some ground rules. So how are we going to do this? We're not going to share the photographers' names. So we're not going to out anybody. We're not going to play favorites. And we're not going to influence you in case you know the photographers, right? And we're going to try what we just discussed last week. We're going to try an open sandwich critiques. So it's going to be, we're going to say something we like about the photos so that we come off a little bit nicer than we might really be in our real life.
This is for my benefit. Remy is saying this for my benefit.
So we're going to say what we like about the photos, and then we're going to say what we think can be improved. And I think that's the way we're going to try and keep this civil, so that people don't get too angry with us or too upset. We'll try. We'll try. Yeah. We'll try. So again, if you'd like to recommend to your friends to watch, just share the feed. We need all the support we can get. So without further, how do you even say that? Without further ado, is that how you say it?
Ado, yeah. Without
all right. Ado. So yeah, my English still needs some work. So I'm gonna start. I'm gonna share. There we go. All right. So you've seen this screen before.
Yeah.
So it's going to go at random. I'm going to try and keep watch on the comments in case there are any. So if there are any comments anyone wants to make, in the meantime, please do. So we've got a few people saying hi. Right. I don't know if you're looking at TC. Are you looking at the comments?
Live comments. Yeah.
Okay. So you're looking at the live comments. Okay. So I don't need to put them up, but. So some people already know TC, so that's good.
Yeah, we met in Bangkok.
That's right. TC was in Bangkok. How long has it been now? 2 years? 3 years?
I don't know, maybe 3 years. 2 or 3 years, I guess.
It was at the first street photo festival that we did in Bangkok. So TC was here, I think, 2 years ago.
Yeah, me and Barry and you did a workshop.
That's right. Barry was here as well. So that was fun. All right. So this is the first time we're both doing this, so I have to excuse us a little bit if we mess up somewhere along the line. But here's the first photo that we received. So I'll go first on this one. I think because TC knows where this photo was made. I didn't know where this photo was made. So as soon as we saw this when it came in, I immediately had a good laugh about it. So that's a big plus for me. I think photos that make people feel something is always good. And I looked at this and I immediately thought it was it's quite funny, the juxtaposition, the old man especially sitting with that little girl's doll. I don't know if TC wants to reveal what it is, but TC knows what it is. So that's so TC, what you know where this was made. What was your first take on this?
I really like this the first time. The first impression I had of this was quite positive because of the emotional impact of it. I mean, it's quite funny. It just sort of leaps out at you, and also the colors are really done nicely, and the expressions. I do know where this was made because I know it's on the Danshui light rail in northern Taiwan. and I know the person who made it. That little girl's doll there is actually kind of street art.
So it's not something that the old man bought and brought with him onto the train.
I don't believe so. I'm not sure.
Because that makes a lot of difference, right? For people who knows the situation and people who don't know the situation. Because I don't know the situation, and my first thought was
sure. I'm not sure. I can't, because when I was on that train, I'd taken this train, and I did not see anything like this on that train. But to me, it looks like something that was made for the train.
Oh, so you think it is, so you don't know for sure what it is.
I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, so we're gonna go with my imagination here. Then we're gonna go with this being the doll that the old man brought up onto the train, going home with it.
It looks to me like he really
it's weird.
He really regrets that purchase. He was just like, I don't know what I was thinking. I bought this doll, and now it's on the subway with me, and it's gonna freak my family out when I get home, or something like that. But I mean, just the expression of him and the couple on the left side.
What expression? They're both in masks.
You could tell their expression through their body language and their eyes and their positions.
Good point.
And I mean, it's the same with the guy. You can see with the guy, his folded hands and his expression, the sort of like, what have I done sort of expression, and it's just it's a nice contrast.
I love the opposite effect of his mouth and the doll's mouth going in opposite direction, because he's obviously frowning and she's like half smiling. He's half frowning and she's half smiling. So that to me really stands out. As you said before, I think this really kind of like, it's impactful immediately as you see it. You're drawn into it, and I think that's a cool part about it that I really love. I love the gestures of the couple. I think you're right. Even through the masks, we can still see their expressions. We can still see what they're doing. The way they're coming together. So that's what I really like about it.
My only criticism, my only thing about that I would.
So we're gonna go to the second part of the sandwich now, right?
Is that what we're doing?
I guess we've done the topping now, so we're gonna go into the meat now.
You're so structured. I wasn't thinking about the sandwich.
I'm sorry,
but but
we're gonna go into it.
My only criticism would be that it is sort of too reliant on the doll. I mean, the impact of the image is strong, but it is a little bit too reliant on the fake part of it. Right. The rest of it is very nice. It's very pleasant, but without the doll, it would be somewhat less impactful. I mean, that's not really harsh criticism, but
no, it's not. But I understand what you mean, because when we take street photos, we'd like for it at least to be somewhat balanced, where there are equal weights around the frame, and not one element take everything away from the other elements. And in this case, I can agree with you.
It goes right to the doll. Your eye goes right to the doll, and then it goes to the other more pleasant parts of the photo, which is good.
Yep. But then at the end of the day, you just keep coming back to the doll because it's so powerful. Not just as an element, but also visually, color wise.
Yeah, the color. Otherwise, it would just be blues and reds and grays. But you have the big green thing in there. So
that's right.
But it's well spotted. It's well seen, and it's well composed.
I think the whole scene is really well seen, and I don't know. I can't see from the reflection very well, but it seems like across the seats, it's actually standing places on the train. So there are no seats on the opposite side. That it's actually like a standing position. I don't know what they're called, like railing or something.
It looks like that. I couldn't be sure.
So I think that helps in a way, because most people, if they're sitting just across, then they just take pictures sitting down. They wouldn't really necessarily stand up and try to get more of the scene. So we've got a comment here asking if the doll, Tim Russell says the doll looks photoshopped in. I don't think it's photoshopped.
It's not photoshopped. I could tell you that.
And his second comment was that
is it built into the train seat? It might be.
It might be.
It might
We
be.
also don't know because TC lives in Taiwan and TC hasn't seen this regularly, so it
But
might
it
be.
might be. It's a distinct possibility.
If they did it to separate people as a form of social distancing art, that might be pretty cool if they actually did that.
That would be. However, I believe this was taken before the pandemic.
Yeah.
So that would be before these measures were taken.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're
Although that's a good idea to do that. I mean, they should just put creepy dolls
cool, right?
Put creepy dolls on every other seat, and like nobody would sit
it's better than you just doing the crosses, the red crosses, and skipping seats. So it's pretty cool. We have another comment saying that it looked almost fake, but again, we're both gonna say it's not fake. We know this.
I know for a fact it's not fake.
So we know for a fact that it's not fake. I'm gonna stand by that as well. So we're gonna move on to the next picture now.
It could be built in.
It could be built in. So we're gonna conclude on that. All right, let's move on to the next picture. So this one's also on a train, but made outside of a train. Tim, TC, I'll let you go ahead with this one. Let you start with this.
This has the impression. I know it's not. I know he wasn't running alongside the train when he or she took it, when they took it, but it has that impression of speed and motion. That's okay. With the guys, he's looking back almost as if startled. It doesn't look like a flash unless it was like done in a weird place. It looks like actual sunlight, but just the way your eye sort of sweeps up from the red onto his face and then back along his eye line towards the polished metal, to me is a nice little journey of the eye. It has a sort of arrow shape to it. I actually really like this. There's a little bit of a crushed blacks feel to it, which I'm on the fence because I see a lot of that.
Right.
And it can be done too much. I don't think it's done quite too much here. I think it's done to pretty good effect here. But all in all, I think it's really good. That little splash of red on his shoulder, that sort of mirrors his upper lip line there.
Does it? Oh, right. Oh, that's a good point. Oh, I'm just noticing that now. That red matching with his lip line.
It's kind of subtle. It's not really in your face, but it's a repetition. You can see the shoulder, the epaulette, and there's a little thing on his shoulder. There's two shapes there, and then there's his mouth.
Oh, that's
and then there's his eyebrows, and so then there's the shape of his face. It's all this sort of series of curves that sort of move up the photo.
Oh, wow.
So I quite like that.
You would not see this on Instagram. Like you wouldn't see these details on Instagram.
That's why I do not like Instagram, because you're just looking at these little.
And that's why we're not doing this on Instagram and deciding to do it on Facebook, just because you definitely missed this on Instagram.
Yeah, that's just my interpretation. Though. Your mind might vary.
No. My take of this. Look, I think the first picture was a train from Taiwan. This is a train in Thailand, so I'm more accustomed to this type of scene than you are, I guess.
Right.
As opposed to you being more accustomed to the other one. For me, I'm pretty sure this was made. The train was stopped when this picture was made.
Yeah, I'm sure it is too. Right? It just has an impression of movement. That's all.
I do wonder what you think. See, when we're looking at pictures bigger. In this sort of size, that's when we notice what's in focus and what's not. I wonder, does it bother you that the logo on the shirt is more in focus than the face? Does that bother you?
It doesn't, because what's important, the impact for me, the impact of the face is the expression. And the expression is just as impactful, slightly out of focus, than it would be completely in focus. It doesn't detract from the expression, the power of the expression.
I'm gonna take a really wild guess that this was actually done with flash, and that black shadow on top of his mouth is due to the flash effect of not maybe something blocking the light.
Okay,
as it hits his face. So I'm just gonna take that wild guess. I don't think it bothers me. I think there's enough left of his lip to match with the red logo that helps it. That helps the image rather than takes it away. Yeah. If the shadow had been higher and it had actually covered all the way up to his nose, maybe it wouldn't have worked as well.
Yeah, and if it had been lower and we'd seen all of his mouth and the expression of his mouth, I think that would have detracted from the expression of his eyes.
For sure, for sure. I think the light's really well controlled. It seems like there is a hint of the highlights being a little bit overblown on the top, but that doesn't really bother me so much. I feel like the image really takes us up from the bottom left all the way to the top right, and it kind of goes up in a slant.
And the top right has this little gift for you. It has this little like a pseudo. It looks to me like a little bit of Chinese mountain range painting on the top right.
Wow. Okay, that's more details. So yeah, this picture seems to be slanting up, and that's a good thing in my book.
It is. It's a bit tilted, and my students will always tell me, because I'm always harping on them. Oh, it's tilted. It's not quite right. But I think that in this case it works. It sort of gives that sense of motion to it, and sometimes when I should explain that when I have a problem with a tilted photo, it's because it was tilted for bad reasons. It was tilted out of incaution, or just bad practice, or just because someone didn't want to be seen taking a photo. So like just like that sort of thing.
Oh, that. Okay,
But this is not that case.
I'm not getting a sense, and I think that might be because, and I tell you why, and I think this is the reason. A lot of Thai photographers go to the train station because it's relatively easy to raise up your camera and make pictures. So I don't think this was a case of.
Oh sure, yeah, I've been there, so I know what it's like.
So this is not a case of people kind of lifting up the camera and trying to not be seen or whatever. I don't think that's what we're looking at here. But one of the problems that I have a lot when I go to the train station is when I'm shooting, the train is a little bit higher than your eye level. So what happens is you're tilting. Your camera's tilting for sure. Yeah. Just because you're not going to lift up your camera above your head to make this picture. You're going to try and shoot from your eye level.
Unless you have a tilt screen.
And or even if you're on a tilt screen, especially if you're on a tilt screen, it's actually more difficult to keep it level when you're on a tilt screen.
Oh, you don't have the level thing? Yeah.
No, but if you're trying to make a quick picture, and I think this was a quick picture because he's looking, it's like it's a moment thing. And this is why the image works, I think, for you and for me, is because it seems like it's a moment thing and not a posed picture.
Do you think that he's looking at the flash?
I feel like he is, I think maybe this is like an offhand flash kind of.
Yeah. It's like the photographer is doing like this, and
entirely possible, because if you raise something up in front of people's face, they're going to look at that thing and not you.
Yeah.
So maybe this turned out to be a lucky accident or a lucky predetermined. Effect.
Because in that I have to say, to be completely honest, that takes away a little bit of the appeal for me, because
if that's what he did, right? If that's what the photographer did, right? Because
it's sort of a reaction that was created by the photographer, and this is a reaction to the photographer,
right?
Rather than a more honest situation, a more candid situation.
But I would say the result is in itself pretty good. So
certainly, it's a photo that I quite like.
All right, we'll leave it there unless we go to the next one. How do I hide the sidebar? Oh, okay, I can do this. That's pretty cool. I can do this too. Okay.
Remy's so excited at this new technology. Look what I can do. He's like a kid in those cars when they have like a little electric window. It's like, look, the window goes up and down.
People are trying to like do this, like watch this thing seriously here, man.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. My bad.
All right, we'll pull a joke on each other at the end of each photo. We promise. But
again, with the structure, you have to have the structure. Okay, fine.
All right. Okay. See,
you're so methodical.
I am. I've thought this whole thing through a few times.
I know. I can tell.
All right. Okay. We'll go ahead with the next one. All right. I'll let you start this one.
These performance photos are difficult to do well. Let me just start by saying that.
When you say performance, what do you mean? Can you explain that?
Well, it's like street performers.
Street performance. Okay. Street performers.
Yeah, people playing in the streets, like as part of some sort of procession, or if they're just I don't know what their particular deal is, but it's hard to do that, and a lot of people gravitate towards these photos automatically because they say, "Oh, it's just spectacle. I'm gonna take a picture of the spectacle." However, this one I think is very well done because it not only gets the people playing the trumpets, but it gets the reaction of the people by them, and it's an interesting reaction because the guy on their right, it's just, I mean, he's got a drum and they're playing, but his expression is like, "What the hell?" And it's just like, "You're not supposed to be playing that," or something like that. It's just like,
I think that's the part that I love most about this picture.
Yeah,
the reaction there,
and then the kid sort of playing along, so, as it was behind him, really makes it as well. So you've got this sort of a nice interaction going on between the performers and the people listening to them.
I'm trying to zoom in to let people see.
But he's playing a party trick. He's playing a little party thing, toy.
So you can see the reaction of the guy that we were talking about here.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's what TC was talking about before, and this is the kid playing at the back, like imitating the performers, which is pretty cool too.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with him reacting to them for his own reasons. It might be, there's a very small chance that he might see the photographer taking a picture and he's looking to see what is being photographed, which is also a common thing. However, I don't think that's the case here. I'm just saying that happens. I'm not saying it's happening here.
I know it happens when I make pictures too, and I'm almost inclined to agree. Except when I look again, he's not really making a kind of face.
No, he's not.
That you would notice people make when they think they're not being photographed.
Right. Yeah.
And the guy next to them is being photographed. I like that kid standing at the back as well. The kid with the stone face.
Yeah, nobody here is very happy to be here.
Which is strange, right? It seems like to be an event of some kind that people should be happy.
You would think so.
You would think people would be happy.
Is this taken in Thailand? Do you know?
No, this is not in. This is
Burma
not
or Myanmar.
No, I don't. I'm not sure. I'm actually not sure where this photo was made, but it was not in Thailand.
All right. Yeah, it's something that should be a very festive occasion with the instruments and everyone's dressed very festively, and the kid's got a party trick, but nobody there is happy to be there. They're all just sort of.
Okay, so that contrast in feelings. It could be Myanmar. Yeah, Daniel's saying it might be Myanmar.
So it looks like Myanmar to me.
It looks like because of the the paint.
The painted sunscreen on the faces that they use there.
Does it bother you that it seems a bit flat in a way? Like there's no real depth to the image. Does that bother you? Or not?
Does it need it? Because I think the trumpets are pretty three-dimensional. You're looking for layers. I think that we have enough layers. I think there's basically the positions of the musicians and then the people behind them, and then you have the landscape in the background. I think it's enough for me personally.
I think that landscape in the background saved it. Or maybe if this was a wall, I think it would have been okay. The characters are pretty cool. Like the characters are lifting this image on their own. Like they don't really need support. Like they're all doing their jobs in a way.
If it were just a blank wall behind them, then the place where the shrine and the pagoda back there is right now, that would be kind of a blank, empty area that's not filled in. However, this is filled in. So
and now I'm noticing one of the bent shape fork thing at the top, which adds another nice little detail that you would never see on Instagram.
I had not noticed that, but that is a nice little detail. Yeah.
You would not, and if you look towards the leftmost, then you're seeing the hand there. That is kind of like there's tension in the hand gesture there on the left.
There's tension throughout this whole shot, actually.
Because you mentioned that people didn't look happy to be here, and it seems to show in people's faces and even in their gestures.
It reminds me of who was it? There's a Russian composer. It's not Stravinsky. Rachmaninoff, who he created these orchestral pieces that were just really lavish during the Soviet regime, and the government loved it because it was like all really festive. But when you really listen to it, it sounds like the people are forced to be rejoicing. It's like people being prodded with pitchforks and saying, "You must be rejoicing." that's the kind of vibe I get from this photo.
Oh, wow, wow. Well, always a good thing if you're reminding the audience of something. That's a good picture in my book.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we have much else to say. Do you think there's anything here that you would have done differently, or you think this is the best you could have done with the scene?
Well, I mean, I wasn't there, so I don't know what's to the left and the right and
that's true.
The foreground. I think it's really well done. I mean, the guy's trumpet bell is even really well framed with his sleeve right against his sleeve right there. So it's complex, but it's not chaotic. I think it's pretty well placed.
That's a good description. I don't think it's complex. I don't think it's that complex, but it's nice. It's nice. Cool. All right, moving on. Well, this was when I looked through the photos of all the photos that we picked for the critique session. To me personally, when I looked at this photo on a phone screen, it looks much better. I think this was a phone shot, and this is what happens when you blow it up on the big screen. You're going to see all the pixels, and you're going to see all the over processing, and you're going to see all the little details when it's blown up. And that's pretty unfortunate because I think the moment itself is great. I love the moment itself. I love the formation. I love the expression of the kid in the car. I love the line that takes you all the way to the back. Even the little flare, the light flare that you can see in two places. But what do you think?
Have you finished your sandwich?
I have finished my open sandwich, my top part of the sandwich. And we're gonna go to the bottom part of the sandwich. TC's gonna do that.
Just wondering, because I didn't know where you were in the sandwich. So if you finished or not.
All right. Okay.
Do you want me to?
Yeah. No. We. Yeah. You put the bread on.
This is a wonderful shot.
What? That's not your sandwich. That's not how this works. I'm the good cop. You're the bad cop. That's what we agreed on.
I'm making my sandwich. You made your sandwich. We'll have our own sandwiches.
All right, fine.
All right. It's really well composed. It is, to my eye, very obviously processed.
Yeah.
Okay. If it hadn't been severely burnt on the one side, we wouldn't really see the face, which is like one of the central points, one of the central features of the photo, and it's a lovely element. As is the guy in the back. It's sort of like he looks like he's sort of pissing down the stairs there, and but the people don't mind; they're just like doing their thing. And the sort of like the dirty lens flare that just happens to be in the right direction to balance it up, balance out the lines. It just happened to be just the right type of dirty on the lens, which happens as we all know, this happens with cell phones. Because it's in your pocket, it's getting dirty. It's just
I'm gonna blame all the flaws of this image on and actually happy accidents on the phone on it being a phone. As you said, I think the flare and some mistakes that you see here was actually made without the photographer's knowledge because of the dirtiness of the lens.
I can't see them before taking these pictures getting that dirt just right. Just I want this flare exactly. I can't see that.
If you watch enough YouTube videos of how to make better pictures, they teach you how to put like this gel on the back of your lens.
That is true. That is true. Yeah.
So if you want to be a better photographer, you should carry a gel in your pocket, which we all do now, apparently. So in this new normal, we all have the alcohol gels, and we can try just rubbing that onto the lens, and you'll get some pretty cool effect like this one.
It's really well composed. It just the processing leaps out to me because I know how that works, and I'm just like, yeah, you just did a little bit too much, but
yeah.
Otherwise,
some little details again that you would not have seen probably not on Instagram is the stuff on the reflection, all the lines on the reflection on the glass, the reflection of
the condensation or whatever it is.
Yeah, it looks like there's a construction site behind or something.
There's some sort of scaffolding.
I think it all adds to it, because if you look closely, then you would see that the scaffolding matches with the stairs at the back, all the way to the back. So there are repetitions, there are repeating elements, and again, with the flare working in the right direction. So this image really takes you in.
And it's sort of like a parade of marching soldiers or something marching by.
And his expression, which we've talked about all the composition part, but his expression is obviously the key that really pulls the image together. His expression really works here, and I think sometimes we forget to point out the most obvious stuff, and that, but actually that is not always easy to do. Because people make pictures of people through cars and trains all the time, but you don't always get that right moment. And in this case, I think just nailed it. I think,
and that might be the phone as well. I mean, it could be if this guy had a huge, like a D850 or something like that, and just like boom, he wouldn't have gotten this expression.
No, I think he would have looked. I think the guy would have looked at the camera for sure. Yeah. So that it might be a case of it being a phone and it working out quite well. Yeah, absolutely.
And also, with another advantage for the phone is that everything is pretty much in focus from front to back. Because you have that tiny little sensor, you're going to get this huge depth of field.
Right.
It's going to make all this. You couldn't have gotten that with a full frame sensor. Well, I mean, you could have, but in all likelihood, if you used any sort of aperture at all, it would have been.
And this was late. I think this was after sundown. So
yeah,
it's pretty obvious. Sundown.
The dodging, obviously it was severely dodged to get that face.
Yeah. But that's also sometimes the phone filters, the filters that come with the phone. I play a lot with that. So I'm a bit lazy when it comes to processing. Sometimes I choose what I think looks nice on the phone filters, and I just go with it.
Oh, me too. Especially with Instagram, because it's just so easy. It's just like swipe, and there you go. It's like Tinder, I like this one, just like swipe left.
The biggest problem I've had, interestingly, is when I use the filters on the phone and the colors turn out really nice, but I can't replicate it on the computer.
It's like two different media, though.
I've got a photo on Instagram, and then I'm trying to do it on the computer, but I can't get the same colors out because I'm doing it myself rather than with the filters that come with the phone, and it's already been preconceived.
It's not going to look the same anyway, because you're just going to have this. It's going to be so much larger. You're going to see the details, and the color's going to look different anyway.
I've come to accept that as a cost of using the phone and posting photos on the phone. I have a few. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. We'll go to the next one.
Okay.
Oh, I like this.
Do you want to go?
This is I'm gonna put myself out there. I think this is my kind of photo. Like I'd want to see something like this. I'm not sure if I would have made it at the same moment, but I would have wanted to see this. Like I do this with my own face, with my selfies, where I'm kind of placing my face up against the windows, and I'm finding other characters to complement my face or whatever, my camera, and put myself in the scene. So I think if I had seen this, I might have tried to put myself in there just because that's my tendency. But I really like the choices made here by the photographer. Because by not doing what I would have done, I think the photographer saw here something different, and I think the result is something that I find really interesting. And if you look in the photo, if you're on Instagram, again, if you're on a smaller screen, you would definitely miss this. But if you're on a bigger screen right now, I'd like you to take a look on towards the top left of the image, where it looks like there's sort of these electrical wires going through the guy's head, and that's actually somebody else's hair. So if you look close enough, you'll see that it's actually another person's head, and I think that's like a hair strand or something going through.
Is it?
It looks to me like another person's head. Look to the top left. You see another.
Yes, I see. Yeah, it looks like a logo.
Yeah. So now it's it's even more complex than I first thought. When I first saw the image, I thought, yeah, it's okay. It's nicely laid out. But now that I see another person there, it feels even more complex than I first thought. and you can see the guy's head, the popping head pretty clearly. Guy's wearing I think the guy's wearing a hat, so he's making that shape with the top of his head. So it all adds up, and these little lucky moments, I guess, lucky breaks, I call them. I refer to them as lucky breaks, I guess, helps to build this image. The other thing that I really like about this image is the color scheme and how it seems to play between the cool color and the hot colors coming together in this sort of in this frame. And so that's my sandwich. How about you go with yours?
This sort of I quite like this image. The sort of figure with the two faces reminds me of a Shel Silverstein poem.
Okay.
Shel Silverstein was a poet whom I greatly admired when I was about in third grade. Third grade, fifth grade. He made these silly poems about strange things that happened. There's like, this reminds me of something that he would write a poem about. It's like like one guy with two heads.
Right. Yeah.
And this is how his life is, or something like that. But this reminds me of the illustrations that he would draw for those poems. My favorite part of this, I guess, is sort of I really like the gradation from a cooler tone to a warmer tone from left to right. I like the repetition of the light and the little piece of light in between the heads and the ship on the bottom. I like the fact that there's a harbor there, because that places it. If the harbor was not there, if this was just the heads and another person, it would be rather mundane. But for some reason,
you're talking about the blurred background, right?
Yes,
right.
But you can tell that it's a harbor.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm just
and that we're on some sort of ship or something like that, or if we're not on a ship, we're near the harbor. But it has that sort of nautical feel to it, and so it just gives it enough of a context. And that blue and the yellow on the bottom left hand give it enough color to give it an extra dimension. And so that gives it enough context for me to quite enjoy this shot. That little window between the heads, I can't quite tell what that is. It's sort of, it almost bothers me. It's like I want to comb that. But,
I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask you that because I noticed when I pointed out that I thought I think it's somebody else's hair. But I do wonder that because we can't really tell what it is, does that bother a viewer more than it helps? Just because you can't tell what it is.
I think that actually that bit of light, that little square of light there, actually balances the shot out. If it weren't there, then I think that it would be too left heavy.
So you're talking about, now I'm just going to try and zoom in as much as I can. You're talking about this part, right? That it balancing these two parts balancing each other out. That's what you're saying.
I'm talking about the space in the head that you're talking with someone's hair.
Ah, right. Yeah. Okay. I get it.
I think that element balances out the shot a bit.
Right.
And if it weren't there, the shot would seem it would be too heavy on the left.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's just my opinion. I don't know.
Anything else that you would have done here differently?
I would have been curious to know what it would have looked like if they'd used a greater depth of field. If the person in the background,
sorry, say that again.
A wider depth of focus.
Okay.
If they had not used such a large aperture, if they just sort of allowed it to see a little bit more detail in the background, I would have been curious to see how that would have made, what kind of shot that would have made.
Okay. Interesting.
It might be better. I don't know. It might be worse.
Well, I was just going to say that because
because also the head, you see in the back of the head there, the front profile is in focus. Yep. The back part is not in focus.
Yep. So it's pretty shallow. It's clearly pretty shallow. I guess this was going to take me to my next point, is that in the last few minutes, we've only talked about what's happening on the left-hand side, but we've not really commented on anything on the right-hand side. Mm-hmm. So does that make this shot left heavy, or even though we're not talking about the right-hand side, it's still okay?
Well, that's another reason that I would like to see. I'm curious to see more detail on the in the background, which generally means the right side, because that's like the most.
So this would have less.
That's the other major figure in this composition would be that part of the photo.
So this would have made it less left heavy if we could see a little bit more details going on the right side. Yeah.
Because we can't see the details, I can't say, but
yeah.
it's a possibility.
Okay.
It could be that woman or whoever that is in the background is really interesting, but we don't know really. So.
I think her being there, I'm going to assume it's a woman there. Obviously, I can't tell either. I think her being there helps the frame, but not really offering anything to balance the left heavy feel of the image. But
it's hard to say. It could be that if she were in focus, it would be too distracting. I don't know.
Could be also. You're right. And my sandwich says this is a really good photo. That's what my sandwich is going to say. So
I quite like it. It's not the focal length that I usually take, so it's hard to say what I would have done.
No, I think I would have done this. I think I would have pulled out my phone and go for that f8, f11 with my phone. So.
Your phone could do like f63.
Yeah, right. No, and I would have put my face in there too. So I can't judge. That's what I will.
Yeah, you're like Martin Parr. You have to put your face in there somewhere.
All right. No, we're gonna move on now before we talk about something else. All right. 2 guys in a hole. Mm-hmm. I'll let you go.
I like this shot. I think there's some things could have been better. I think that it's very real. It's something that you don't normally take a photo of. So the fact that this photographer saw it and made this composition is interesting. But I think that they could have made a bit greater effort to conceal themselves in the shadow there, because we can obviously see their form there, and it's sort of impinging on the composition a little bit.
You're referring to that shadow on the right, on the bottom right, correct?
Yeah. To me, I mean, I might be wrong. I think that might probably be the photographer's shadow.
It looks like it's somebody's lifting their.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
So you can see that shadow there. That's a good read.
That bothers me a little bit. I think, and it could have been avoided, but. The fact that I like the fact that they got the 2 guys in the hole and the lines going across, and the hand at the top, the 2 hands at the top. It's like almost there. I think it could have been better. I think it was an interesting scene that wasn't quite what it could have been.
That's my question, because if I had seen this, I wonder. I keep thinking about it the last few weeks that we've looked at images, and after we decided that we were going to critique this one, I kept thinking, what would I have done here? So I think that's going to be my question to you right now. Like, if you had seen this, how would you have framed, especially that guy on the left-hand side, which I don't think helps the frame so much. Would you have eliminated him completely, or would you have used him in a different way? Like, would you have kept him in the frame just because he had depth to the image? Or would have gone flat and just go for the 2 guys in the hole?
Well, I'm not sure what is exactly to the right hand side of this. So okay. I don't know how with a wide angle lens I would have eliminated that guy.
Yeah. Okay.
Rather than just like panning over and then I don't know what's on that side. So I think he was going to be in the shot, regardless, pretty much. I mean, unless there's like a sudden landslide and he's covered up with mud, he's going to be in the shot. Yeah. The question is, how much of that top do you want to put in there? Again, that depends on what's going on the right side. It looks like there's a person blocking the way on that side.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how much you could have done, but I'd be just interested to know how you would have dealt with that situation.
I may have tried to climb up. I'd probably look at my shoes and see which ones I'm wearing.
Practical. I like that.
So if I notice that I'm wearing shoes that I'm not going to feel sorry about, I'm probably going to climb up there, because
you're climbing up there. You'd have to like climb over that light. You'd have to be like standing on top of the shadow, because otherwise your shadow would be in the shot.
And again, TC, my shadows are in my shots, so I do that too. But But having said that, what I might have tried, because when I try to go for depth, and if I don't think the depth works, and in this case I don't think the depth works for me because of, the guy at the back feels a bit boring-ish, not really doing much, not really moving, not really adding anything.
Yeah, waiting for another time. But if he had done something more interesting, timing could have been a lot better as well.
I may have just climbed over this thing and just shoot down, and see if I can get a couple of gestures with the hands of the two guys in the hole, what they were doing, and capture the hands, capture the gestures of the people instead of their heads and the guy at the back. I like the scene, and I think I kept it for critique, and I chose this because I like the colorways, I like the tone of the image, I like the tonal range. I think it's a good scene. I think it's nicely picked out. Like if you see this on the street, if I saw this on the street, I'd go in and try to make a picture because I like
certainly.
I like how balanced the colors and the light is. I like the shapes of the shadows as well. I like that there are two guys in the hole, but I may have tried to do something different with it. That's just what I want to say.
Yeah, it's impossible to tell because we don't know what's outside the frame.
No.
But it's certainly a scene that would be worth working, I would think, because it doesn't look like they're going anywhere. It's like they're in a hole. What are they going to do?
And I think here's where different photographers are going to do different things. Because I think a photographer that likes to layer up their shots would probably do, as you're saying, like would consider what's happening on the right hand side, would try to make a different frame, maybe pan right, maybe lower, maybe go higher. I don't mind going close up. My photos are usually closer up anyway, so I would not have minded just climbing over and get closer. So people who are listening right now, if you're learning about, if you're here for the critiques, I guess this is where the subjectivity of photographers and photography comes in, where you have choices and you have to make that choice in a short space of time. So in this case, I imagine you have a lot of time. And you can really kind of explore what.
I actually kind of like that tractor on the top left. I kind of like that tractor wheel. It sort of adds a little punctuation to the composition.
I think you mentioned this before. The line that's going from the right to the left that really worked for the shot, and I think there are good things happening here. That's for sure. It's just that because of the problems, I might have attempted a different shot, but I still like the scene. I think the scene works.
Yeah, it's a good attempt. It could have been better. I think it could have been worked better, but it's well seen and it's not a bad shot.
No,
it's not great, but it's not bad.
No, not at all. Not at all. All right, we'll move on. Ooh, you go.
This is nice. This is really nice. I love fishing harbors, so I'm a bit partial to shots like this. A friend of mine, a Taiwanese photographer named Li Amin, he's an older guy, and in order to capture the lives of the fishermen, he lives on one of these boats, and his job is to take care of the boat while it's in the harbor, and so he just uses this little Sony RX100, and he just lives among the fishermen. And just takes snapshots. And he's made a book. He's making 2 books.
Wow.
Photo books from the work that he's made. Yeah, this is in Taiwan.
Taipei?
That's in Kaohsiung, actually, in the south.
Okay. Wow.
So
maybe you want to leave a link there somewhere, maybe at the end of this or something.
Yeah, maybe we can put it in later.
Yeah. No.
But anyway, this
go on.
Because the light is you can tell it's sort of like it's either really early morning or like dusk. And it's a combination of natural light and the light from the artificial light is really atmospheric. I think if it were me, I think I would have I might have made a couple of shots with different focus points. I think that it's a wise point to make the focus on the background because that's very evocative. And you also get enough of the foreground guy's emotion even though he's out of focus. I think that the framing could have been a little bit better because he's sort of mashed up against the boat there, his face.
He's mashed up against the boat, and he's mashed up against a couple of guys at the back as well.
Yeah, his back doesn't really bother me as much, but his face, because that's a focal point of the photo, is sort of if that were separated and he had been in the gap between the dock and the boat,
Yeah.
that might have been, I don't know, it might have been a stronger shot. I mean, but the colors are just magical. Look at the blues and the reds and the green of the shirt. And the aqua of the rope. Those are just like really lovely, lovely colors.
The color just blows me away as well. When I saw this picture, and this was made in Thailand, by the way. I've never. I don't think I've been here. Maybe I've been here at a different time, but I've never seen it in this sort of art with this sort of artificial light. And one of the most beautiful things that Thailand skies have been doing the last few months is it's been offering up these really great colors, and to be able to use that against a scene with this amount of colors in the forefront, I think that's the magical part where you're combining. You're using the skies, you're using the background really, really well. In most places, you might get a really blown out sky, and it would have just been, some days you would have probably just get like blown out sky, and you would have just gotten the front, which I don't think would have worked out so well. So in this case, the luck of the draw of being there on the day with this sort of colored sky really helps the scene. We have an interesting question coming up here from
Amir.
I'm going to post that up now. I think this is an interesting question, but I'm gonna jump the gun on UTC a little bit.
Go ahead.
I make pictures. I make pictures in colors, right? I used to make pictures in black and white, but it hasn't. But mostly I like colors, and I think it adds to the photograph. When you take the colors away, I think it defines the photograph differently. And in this case, I think maybe Amir noticed that we're only talking about the colors. So now maybe we want to talk about the content a little bit. So maybe that, TC, what do you think?
Well, again, I think that regardless of whether it's in color or black and white, I think that the guy's sort of like his head mashed up against the boat there. That's like a main focal part. That's where all the lines lead you to. The leading lines lead you to that, basically the general structure of the photograph. If that were not the case, I think that it would have made an interesting black and white as well, but probably not as interesting as it is in color. The color really adds a lot to this. I think that if it were a black and white photo, it would have been pretty good, but not wow.
It would not have been something we have not seen before. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
it was black and white. And
it would hold its ground as a photo if the guy's head were better placed. I think that to me, that's just, I can't get past that.
Right.
But the positioning of him and the guy on the right, if they had been slightly better, I think it would have worked in black and white. I'm not an expert. I'm definitely not a fan of converting color to black and white in order to make it a better photo. In my book, that's just like, it's so often it can be used as a crutch.
Right.
And I'm not saying that I'm not against black and white photography. I take black and white myself, like with film cameras and stuff like that. But I see so many of my students say, well, this would be really good in black and white, but it's not so great in color. But I mean, why is that? It simplifies it. It takes away a lot of the complexity. In this case, I think that it would take away a lot of the appeal of this photo if you took it away in black and white. But it wouldn't destroy it. It would still hold its ground as a photo, I think.
And I think that's good enough. That's good enough for us to say that this is a good photo. But yeah, we would not call it magical if it wasn't black and white. If
this guy had not chosen to wear a lime green shirt that day, it would have been a very different photo. I think
it all came together quite nicely. The sky,
as it is, it's very nice. And the guy agrees with you. He's looking up at the sky with this expression of sort of like, "Wow, look at that."
He's amazed with this guy. Yeah, we're all amazed with this guy. So yeah, and we're definitely forgiving. We're definitely forgiving the mashed up parts of his body because of the colors. Because in black and white, you would have seen that much clearer, and it would have been more of a problem for sure.
Yeah, it would have been a bigger distraction, I think.
For sure.
But good question, Amir. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's. I thought so. That's good. Cool. All right, take his question away. If anybody has a question, please ask. I don't think we will be here all night, but we'll answer as many questions as we can. Next one, up. There we go. I like the expression here. You know, we talk about pictures feeling less candid when people look at photographs, when people look into the cameras. But in this case, I think it's caught just about the right time before it became too posed. You still see the expression. You still see the cigarette going in there. You see the guy at the back who's also just kind of blowing out smoke as well, which you wouldn't see on a phone. You'd see on a big screen. You're seeing that he's blowing smoke out. You see the poster at the back, so that it's kind of like it's 1, 2, 3. I like that it's taking you into the photograph, even though it's not such a deep space. And I'm guessing it's only like maybe 2 meters or 3 meters out between the photographer and the background. But it's still made to seem like it's nicely laid out and layered into the photograph. So that's what I like about it. I also like the figures on the left and the right kind of closing the photo.
Bookends.
Bookends, exactly. Thank you. So this photo feels quite complete in a way, in a really chaotic scene like this. I don't think it's generally easy to make a photograph feels organized, and I think the photographers managed to organize this frame in a really quick amount of time, and I think the photographer done well. That's what
I really dig that hat. That's a really nice hat.
I
want a hat like that.
And the guy at the back on the right is wearing a hat and smoking, so you're getting repetitions in the frame as well.
Yeah, he's just lighting up. So you got a little bit of a process of lighting up going on there. You've got lighting up, you've got smoking, you've got exhalation. I think that the reason I've thought about this quite a bit. Actually, it's a very interesting question. When does someone looking at you in your photo, when does that become a good thing, and when is that a bad thing? I've gotten asked that many times, and it's an interesting question. In this case, I think that he has noticed the photographer, but he hasn't reacted yet, and he's still got a sort of natural expression, and he's doing the smoking, but it's just sort of like he's not doing really much of a reaction. The guy in the back with the sunglasses, if he did not have sunglasses on and we saw what I suspect is like a really exaggerated expression, I think that would have probably ruined the shot.
Okay. So
because he's wearing sunglasses, we see the guy in the foreground more.
So you're saying if you catch somebody mid-pose looking at the camera but have not changed their expression yet, or not changed their posture or their facial expression too far, then that's kind of like the last moment to make that photograph before it's ruined.
I wonder if that's the case. I'm not sure. It's something I've been thinking about. It's a very interesting question, and I'd like to hear everyone's viewpoints on that. Sometimes it seems like someone looking at the camera that really makes a shot. That's the point of the shot. I know you've seen many great photographs where that's been the case.
Oh, sure. I also sometimes I would take more photographs than I need to because I'm waiting for the subject to look at the camera.
Right. So Elliot Erwitt had a bicycle horn that he carried around with him.
Right.
And he would just like honk it to get people's, reaction.
To get the reaction, right? So
yeah.
You're right, that becomes a subject. The reaction becomes a subject. In this case, though, with this photograph, I don't think his reaction is necessarily the subject. But it's almost faces on the. Let me put up Tim's comment here.
Yeah, Tim says face on the billboard in the background help make the shot. That is true. That little splash of color, especially on the left-hand side, right-hand side.
Yeah.
I have problems with left and right, if you can't tell. I'm left-handed, so I'm always getting left and right mixed up. But yeah, the faces on the billboard. If he had done it like a really shallow depth of field, and it had just been these people in the front and nothing, this big blur in the background, that would have been a different shot.
Yeah, definitely.
So I agree with that. I agree with Tim on that.
Right amount of aperture of f-stop here that shows just enough. And I think, overall, I think it's a really good shot. I'm quite interested in TC's comment about the guy's sunglasses and whether if those were out.
It's just a suspicion of mine. I can't tell, obviously.
No. But obviously, but this is what we do, right? And I think this is the point of doing these critique sessions: is that we're trying to get into the minds of people who look at photographs and wonder.
Yeah, it comes down to how much reaction is too much reaction, and what kind of reaction is good reaction and what is bad. It's a really interesting question that I haven't quite come to a solid conclusion on yet. But
I think the thing that we can definitely agree on is that this wasn't too much in this case.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, and the thing that I really love about this image is the little detail of the guy blowing smoke, the second guy in the back blowing smoke. I think that's really cool detail. That made this feel really, really candid. All right, next up. Oh,
what? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got excited and I pressed again.
So I can tell you really like this shot. So
I think this is my favorite of the 12 that we picked. I don't know. Maybe I'm just gonna say it. I think we all like stuff that we don't really make. Maybe I do. I like a lot of photos that I know that I'm not gonna take. This is one of those photographs that I know if I was there, I would not make it this way. Like people would not know that this was a Rammy's shot if I had made it this way. I would not have thought that this was my photograph, even if I had made it, and I might not have even selected it out of my while I'm selecting photos. So I'm just gonna put that out there. I'm being completely honest here, and I think I like it more because the photographers seem to have seen something that I would have completely missed. And that's why I like it. That's the top of that's my mayonnaise on my sandwich.
But you have to tell us what it is that you would have missed.
I would have missed that. I wouldn't have missed the whole thing. I think I would have picked out one or two persons to get closer to. I would not have made a photo from this far out. I would have probably gotten closer to that wall at the back. I might have gotten closer to the lady on the pole. I might have gotten closer to the guy standing on the ledge. I just don't think I would have made a picture from this far out to begin with, and I don't know the photographer enough to say whether this was a conscious choice, this is an accident. I don't know the photographer well enough to make that call at all. But the photographer did send this picture in for critique, and in my opinion, I think I'm biased because it would not have been something that I would have made. So I'm just gonna take myself out of the critique for now.
You can't do that. That's what we're here. We're making critiques.
No. For now,
you can't just say I'm not gonna do that.
I want to hear what you said because I think, and this is part of the reasons I wanted to keep this shot into the critique session, because I think we see quite a lot of this stuff, quite a lot of this type of images on hardcore street photography. We see a lot of layered shots come in. We see a lot of photos that come in with a ton of people trying to tell different stories. And so in my humble opinion, I think TC, you would probably be in a better position to judge this photo than I am, just because you've seen a lot more of this stuff coming in.
Well, you see a lot. It's true that we see a lot of pleasantly arranged people shots in the queue.
Right. And to be fair, the pleasantly arranged people shots are more of like an early 2000s thing. Like you don't really see a lot of these type of shots in the last maybe 3-4 years. They're less of, people are less patient to wait for this type of shot now, I think.
I don't know. I think it's great. I think the woman looking back over the other one, it looks like sort of like a play on that meme shot of the guy looking back at the girl and his girlfriend looking at the girl. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
it sort of looks like a
so sort of like, so she's kind of like flickering her head around.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that.
But you have this interaction between people who are obviously not interacting in the shot, mainly the young woman and the older woman.
Right.
They seem to be interacting there, but they're probably not. But they are, in the context of the photo, they are.
Right.
And there's no real egregious overlaps. Everyone is in their own space. You have this lovely row of people in the audience up there, just sort of observing. It's sort of like one of those Greek choruses in a play.
That kind of caps it off, doesn't it? Like you have people on the top ledge there, and on the top floor, they're looking down. So you're kind of locked into the photograph. You're not able to get away from the photograph. Like
and they balance the guy on the other side who's also looking from a higher place.
Right. Yeah. That's yeah. And then you have this woman, a half-shaped woman on the right side, but I think she bookends the photo well.
Yeah. She's an element. She's not a figure. See, that's another wise decision that this photographer made, and not every photographer made. Sometimes people, they say, well, you have to have all the person or none of the person, but you tend to forget that if you have part of a person, it's not a whole person. It's not an element. It's not an individual element in the shot, and it's not as distracting to me as if you had a whole person with a whole expression there. And then she would be part of the play. I don't know if it's good or not. I guess not, because the photographer didn't make that choice.
Right.
But to completely exclude her, I think would have actually unbalanced the photo.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a point I'm waiting for you to make, which is that she's, as she is right now, she's balancing the frame.
Right.
And I think that's the cool part. That's the positive part about it.
And this whole thing is revolving around the center point. Is this one guy who's just standing there and doing absolutely nothing.
I thought you were going to say the lady with the finger. I think it feels like she's kind of like she's doing this to the whole photo. Like
no, I'm talking about the guy in the background. I'm not talking about the woman. She's the focal point of the photo.
Right. Yes.
But I'm saying the center of the physical geographical center of the photo is the guy.
Okay, that's a good point. Okay. Yeah. No, without him, it would not have worked either. So.
Maybe not. He definitely is kind of like the linchpin to the whole. He's tying everything together.
We have a question from Bryce, which I'm going to put up.
Are we not saying who shot what?
I'm gonna repeat that point. I guess reiterate that point. How do you say that word? Reiterate. How do you
reiterate?
Say it? Reiterate. I'm going to reiterate that point, that we're not revealing photographers' names on these sessions just because we don't want to play bias or for people to know, get embarrassed by our open sandwich critiques. So we're just going to leave the names out. But we've been really nice, I think, for an hour and 10
I've been trying to be very nice. I think you should appreciate my effort here.
Very nice. I think the next time we do this, I'm going to make you say whether this photograph will get into hardcore street photography or not.
Oh, please don't make me do that. Please.
I'm gonna make you commit to the photographers.
Oh no.
This photograph would make the cut, even though you really like it.
No. Well, man, I don't know.
I don't know. Man. I feel like an hour and 15 minutes. We haven't said one bad thing. So I don't know. I feel like we need to up our game a little bit here.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Amir agrees with me. He wants you to commit to photos getting in or not getting into hardcore street photography.
Well, unfortunately for you, Amir, I'm not deciding that this week. It's Julie who's deciding that stuff this week. So.
Julie from Bird My Eye is running the show for 1 week. So if you guys want to take a shot at it, please do. She will be making questions on
It's Tuesday. Not us, folks. If you don't get in, it's not our fault.
No, not our fault this week. All right, next one.
Okay. Looks like an album cover.
Looks like an album cover. TC, more of your positive comments. What's up with you today?
I don't know what's come over me. But is that a compliment?
That's a. I would want to make an album cover. I don't think you've ever called any of my photos an album cover. I want
because that's not okay. That's not a compliment. That's what I'm saying.
Oh crap! All right, sorry. Sorry.
Is this street photography? No, it's more like an album cover.
Okay,
Stylized. It's very stylized.
now you've opened the Pandora's box. We're gonna have to discuss that. What is the difference between an album cover shot and the street photography and the street photograph? Like, why would you? How would you make that distinction?
Well, actually, it's a false dichotomy because many street shots have been used for album covers.
Right.
So actually, but what I mean by an album cover is something that is very graphically oriented and very dependent on stylistic elements rather than something deeper or more interesting like expressions or emotions.
Okay.
But I'm just talking out my ass. I don't really know that much about album cover design.
No, but I think it's a point that needs to be made when a photograph is completely dependent on a stylistic standpoint rather than something that's actually happening. Then of course the photograph is heavily weighted towards that element and not what you feel about it.
To be honest, I should retract that because when I see if this were excluding the woman on the left side,
yep,
it would definitely look more like an album cover, like by a boy band, because they kind of look like a boy band.
Well, I think it works because of her. I think this photograph has just an album cover. You're right. Okay, so when you look at this,
when you add her, it becomes something more. It becomes something more interesting because you have a little bit of an interaction between the elements of the photo.
Yep, she saved it. I think she saved the day here.
Yeah, we should send her a letter.
No, we definitely. I think if the photographer's
congratulations,
now, you should send a letter to the lady in the picture. I think she saved the picture. Definitely. I think I personally, people who know a little bit of my work will know that I like graphics. I like illustrations. I like strong shapes.
Yeah. Well, they're tools in our toolbox to make a really good photo. But they shouldn't be about the tools. Like the photo shouldn't be about the tools you use to make it.
Yeah. So and I think this is where this photo stands away from photographs that are too dependent on the tools.
Mm-hmm.
And that's precisely why we're mentioning the lady in the girl in the back, because I think she saved the image from being too much about the graphics here.
I agree.
And even the guy, I think, sitting down eating maybe in the cafe, I think he saved it as well.
I wish he had been better placed in the shadows because he's not quite an element. He's sort of like lost between the shadows of the two shadows of the guys there.
Yeah,
and his face is sort of blocked by this piece of light or something. I don't know what that is.
Well, see, now that piece of light, to me, that piece of light works because it's a repeating shape to the guy's glasses in the shadows. If you notice.
Oh yeah. So
maybe
those are his. No, those aren't his glasses, are they?
No, maybe. But I really like that repeating shapes. So we've gone. See, so guys, people, if you guys are listening to us right now, when we saw this picture, the immediate impact, and this is what you're going to get if you're looking at it on a smaller screen for sure. You're looking at the graphics, the visuals, right? But that's sometimes it becomes too much about the graphics. And when you're able to look at an image for a longer time on a bigger screen, and I can't stress this point enough, you start to give the image more chances to present itself. And in this case, I think this photograph has done just that.
Or to condemn itself too.
Well, yeah, sure. It works. It probably worked both ways. But in this case, I think the more we looked at it, the more we spent time on it, we found things that we like about it, the things that we think saved the image, right? The lady at the back saved the image. The guy sitting down saves the image. The repeating light reflection there between the guy's glasses and the guy sitting down, I think that adds something to the image beyond just that central graphical central element. And
yeah, the repeating glasses thing doesn't do much for me personally.
Right, but it's still
that's just me though.
It's still an element that helps it from being too much about the graphics. But I understand your point. It's not strong enough, I would say, to
This
take
is
over.
another case of something I think that could have been worked more and better. Sort of like the two guys in the hole. I think this
Yeah.
is a really fascinating and interesting situation.
Yeah, yeah,
If time were to allow, I think it could have been better.
Well, in this scene here, I think the guy sitting down is going to be there a while. The light's pretty good, right? So you may have been able to position yourself there and make a couple of pictures. You know, I don't like this term, but I think you could have fished for a better image.
It could have been worked. I think it could have worked a bit better, but I wasn't there, so I can't say. You know,
but could be. But interesting picture. All right, I think we are now.
Oh, we've got a comment though.
Oh, we have. Oh,
Paul
there you go. Paul Treacy. Boy band.
Go back to the photo.
Sorry. Yeah, let me do that right now. All right, go ahead, TC. So let's read the comment. Boy band photo has fellas looking down and maybe about smartphones in a way. The previous photo wasn't, because everyone was engaged in a real world around them. So the previous photo, I think he's referring to this one, and comparing it to this one where everybody's kind of like locked into their smartphones.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
They are looking down in their, well, one guy looking at his phone, I think. The other guy's looking into his wallet. So it's
Really?
yeah, there's a wallet there, man.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I see the wallet.
Yeah, there's a phone and a wallet, I think, if you look closer enough.
Yeah.
Both. But yeah, I think that's a good point. I think that's yeah.
Nobody here is except for the girl is really engaged in the world, and she's not really wonderfully engaged herself. It doesn't look like she's sort of like tired of everything.
Well, and this image has no one on the phone. Wow. When was this picture made?
What world is this?
What world is this?
I can't imagine what's going on.
There's no bloody phone here.
It's bizarro.
What? Was this like 1985 or something?
Well, the guys smoking are they on the phone too?
Where?
No, I'm talking in the other photos.
Oh, this one.
The previous photos.
This one.
Before this.
This one.
Right? Nobody's on the. Well, she's on her phone. She's on her phone. That's right.
She's on the phone. These guys are not.
Yeah.
No, we didn't. I think maybe this was subconscious, man. I think we didn't pick photos with people on the phone at all. I think this was subconscious.
Well, because they tend to be, as Paul says.
Yeah.
About people who are not really engaged in the world.
Paul, I think thanks for pointing this out, because I think TC and I have purposely eliminated any photos with phones.
Except for this one.
Except, well, this one, yeah, we couldn't see it. So, but yeah, interesting point. Interesting point. All right, last one for the session. Oh, wait, before we
okay.
spoil the surprise.
All right. They were just wondering, are they going to say thank you at the end? I'm on pins and needles. Are they going to do that? I love this. I love this photo. It's so wonderfully bizarre and surreal, and this is a case where the colors really just are wonderful. The green of the cab, the red, white, and pink, the reds of the tops, the greens of the middles, and the whites of the bottom are just wonderful together. And it's just, it makes me think, because you've got sort of this motiony blur, and there he dragged with the flash, I guess, or he sort of like.
It's a flash photo, yeah.
Yeah, it's a flash photo, obviously, but the guy's looking at he's looking through this spider web of broken glass on his windshield, and it's just, then you have these sort of like two little.
Yeah, I can see that.
Light
Yeah,
things.
That's a drag. That's a flash drag.
Yeah, flash drag. Yeah. So I think it's really used to really good effect. It looks like he's driving these two oxen through hell. He's like Charon, taking people over the silver sticks to hell or something like that. That's what it puts me in the mind of.
Well, all this movement of the camera made me think whether the photographer jumped in front of the car to get this picture.
Oh my God. I hope not. Is he still with us?
I don't think it's a moving car.
This is the last photo he ever took. My God.
But all the movement from the flash, I think it helped. I think, to go back to Amir's question about a previous photograph that we commented so much on the colors, I think this photograph would work in black and white as well.
I do. I agree. It would work, but not. I don't think as well.
No, not as impactful for sure. I think the color definitely adds to it. The green and the pink definitely adds to it. And coincidentally, this guy's wearing green shirt as well.
And his steering wheel has the same array of colors as the picture. If you look at the top of his steering wheel, it has pink, green, and white, just like pink, green, and white on the photo. So
there's a repetition going on. Yeah. I think I love the designs on the cover seat, the car seats. I think that adds to it, because if that had just been like plain cloth type back seat or car seat, I don't think it would have worked as well. I'm noticing some burnout spots, but those don't really bother me too much.
I don't mind that much.
No. I don't mind that at all either. Tim says it looks like the guy's on the hood of the car. Possible.
It does, doesn't it?
Highly possible. Looks like a really wide angle shot, so it's possible that he was kind of like stop the car.
So at this point, I think we should probably issue a public safety announcement to everybody watching. Don't jump in front of cars.
Don't jump in front of cars.
Never do that. No, please don't. Don't say, "Oh, we saw Rammy and TC say it was okay and it's good to do." No, we're not saying that at all. Don't do that.
I love
safety first.
I love this bloodshot sky, pinkish, reddish sky,
and the cow's eyes. The white eyes of the cows are just demon like.
I have no clue about Flash. Maybe we need to get Barry on here. But it's pretty powerful. It feels like a powerful Flash. It feels like a something.
It does. It looks so powerful that perhaps these cows were never seen again.
Oh, Paul is saying he likes all the Instagram logos on the seat.
Yeah, that's where that is. Yeah,
that's very apt. That's probably why.
That's funny.
Reminding me of Instagram. That's funny, but it does look a bit like Instagram logos.
It would be hilarious if this guy's like really into Instagram, and like he has an account with like millions of followers or something like that.
Pop-up flash. There we go. Pop-up flash. Pop-up flash. So that's a camera flash. Wow. Okay. So flash on the camera. So that's
on camera flash. Yeah. On
camera flash. I love the guy's expression. So I feel like it's this. We were discussing this. We were discussing whether people staring into the camera works or not.
Right. And I think this works.
This is one of the cases that it works. He's somehow kept his pose. I don't know whether he posed specifically this way for the photograph, but it doesn't really matter.
Well, he's not reacting in such an egregious way that it overpowers the rest of the composition.
No, he's not at all.
And he's just reacting just the right amount to play his role as it were in the role of composition as an element. If he were like doing something really crazy, it would be like, well, that's not really fair to the cows,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, great photo. I love this photograph. I think.
Yeah, me too. And this, I can say, would be in the HCSP pool because it is.
It already is. You're copping out, man. That's like that's a cop out. This photo's already in. It doesn't count. We're gonna have to redo all this. So the next few minutes we're gonna go back to all the photos and we're gonna have TC say whether the photo is gonna go into hardcore street photography or not.
I can't say that. You have to ask Julie. She's the boss.
I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna go to this next page, which is thank you. There you go.
The page you've all been waiting for.
Page you've all been waiting for. We've been together for an hour and a half now, so it's
time flies.
Time does fly.
And I was nice. I didn't go off on any of the photos.
You were way too nice. I'm going to tell you now. I think you were definitely way too nice. Thanks for everybody who's been staying with us for the last hour and a half. For people who shared this.
Thank you all for the comments too. Those are really good.
Yeah, the comments are fun. I think that really adds to it. We're going to try and do this again, maybe hopefully in another month or so, a few weeks. And for people who've joined, I guess, thanks for the likes and the shares, help us grow this thing. We'll hopefully bring more information and more education.
Oh, Goran has found the doll on the train issue solved.
Goran's fault. All right.
I'll bet they're part of some sort of installation.
Mystery solved. Mystery solved. There we go. Thank you, Goran. Yeah. So I don't know what else to say. I'm overwhelmed.
TC say what?
Anything. Say something.
Black Lives Matter. BME is an ally of the movement for Black Lives. No, I'm serious. I'm serious.
We are. I should be laughing. No.
Yeah.
There's a serious thing going on right now. People are not aware about it. They should be. I will be sharing some information tomorrow on where you can donate, where you can help, how you can help. And I think that's important too. So more than just the black squares that we posted a few days ago, we definitely should be doing more. If we're posting black squares, and we need to be doing more in that. And I hope we think of some ways that we can. All right, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Thanks for staying with us. Again, for liking, sharing, commenting. And we will definitely try to do this again, hopefully with the photos that we left out from this session. We'll bring it back.
If we didn't get to you this time, we'll get to it eventually.
We'll get to you. All right. Thank you very much, everybody, and see you again soon.
Peace
out. I am going to end.